What's up, everybody? It's your boy Eddie. Thank you for joining me today. Today's episode or video is about should men be allowed in women's sports. And I want to thank you again for joining me today. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here watching me for whatever reason. And I thank you. Let's hop right into it. Should men be allowed in women's sports? All right. I'm going to preface by saying this. It is a free country. And anybody can do anything within the law, within their rights, as long as they're not violating anyone else's rights or freedoms. Okay? That's under the United States Constitution. All right? So, there's that. All right? And I also want to say that I'll say it this way. Well, let's motherfucking start right into it. What sport? First of all, let's dissect this question. Should men be allowed in women's sports? First, what are women's sports? What are we talking about here? Women's sports. What sport do women dominate that they can call their own? What sport do women dominate? When I say dominate, I mean when you think of this sport, you think of women. When you think of basketball, do you think of women? When you think of football, do you think of women? Do you think of women when you hear the word hockey? Soccer? Are all those sports male dominant? I would say that all of those sports are dominated by men. Okay? Now, let's take a quick step back. Let's talk about sports in general. Sports is a learning experience for a lot of people. Sports teaches teamwork. Sports teaches communication. Sports offer good exercise. And I would encourage everyone to at least watch the sport that you might like. But history shows that women are not... Most women are not into competing by exerting physical strengths and competing amongst peers for entertainment, which is what sports are. Most women are not into sports. It's just not in their nature. And I am 100% okay with that. I'm not pushing sports on the women. But that's just the reality of it. You go down to the local park, to the basketball court, you're not going to see many women, if any at all, actually trying to, spend time shooting basketball hoops down at your local park. Now, I'm not saying that there's not one woman down there that or has ever been down there. Sure, you get a random girl or two that may go down to the court and kick it, shoot around, maybe play a couple pickup games. But you go down there and you see 20 people, you might find one or two women down there playing pickup ball. Now, of course, you're going to have some anomalies where a group of girls want to practice against the boys, and they go down to the park. There are anomalies. But overall, you take 100 days and you find out that the majority of people playing pickup at the local park for fun, right? For fun, are going to be men or boys. All right? So, there's that. Should men be allowed in women's sports? What is a woman's sport? Not basketball, not football, not hockey, not baseball. What is a woman's sport? And let me ask you this. Back to, are we limiting, for those who want to say that women should only play or compete amongst women in whatever sport it may be, are we overprotecting those women? Now, let me back up. What is the woman's intent? Okay? What is her intent in playing sports? Again, people of all ages can play sports, from 2 years old to 20 years old to 100 years old. Anybody can play sports. But what is their intent? We know a man's intent of playing sports is typically to be the best at the sport, right? He doesn't want to be, if it's a black man, he doesn't want to be just be the best football player. He wants to be the best football player, not black. You have a baseball player. Nobody wants to be the best Spanish baseball player. They want to be the best baseball player ever at that position. They want championships. They want rings. They want notoriety. So, what is the intent of women or girls or females joining sports or participating in sports? Those few that actually do. Are they doing it for, like I mentioned before, exercising? Are they doing it for communication? Are they doing it for building teamwork? Doing it for creating networks and friends? Then it shouldn't be a sexist activity, right? If you're joining the team to run, to exercise, to communicate, to network, to learn, to have experiences, shouldn't that be sex neutral? Right? Shouldn't that be sex neutral? If you're in a sport to exercise, to learn, get some enjoyment, it should be sex neutral. And if women want to play with men, they can play with men, right? So, what is your intent? Is a woman's intent to try to be the best at a sport? If a woman does, let's say, basketball, is her intent to be the best basketball player? Or is her intent limited to just being the best female basketball player? Right? What is her intent? Why is her if her intent is to be the best female basketball player, why? Why are you limiting yourself? Why are you limiting yourself? Are you ultimately saying that you can't be the best basketball player ever? Or is there a such thing as the best basketball player ever? All right? Isn't basketball a team sport? Is football a team sport? Is baseball not a team sport? So, for you to participate in a sport, in a team sport, isn't it about the team? Now, next question. Whose footsteps are you going to follow in if there were no men in the sport? But it's crazy to even talk like that. The first sport ever recorded was throwing a spear, 70,000 BC. Men did this for hunting purposes, right? See who could throw the spear the farthest, most accurate. That was the first sport ever recorded. Back then, I doubt if women led that sport to find out who could throw a spear the farthest to catch dinner for that night. I'm speculating because obviously I'm not 70,000 years old. But I would imagine that sport probably wasn't dominated by women. Sure, you probably had a couple women that at the end of the sporting event got out there and tried to throw the spear for fun and giggles, right? But there weren't women dominating sports. Women have never dominated sports. And whose footsteps are they following in? Who are their role models? If you want to take men out of sports, out of women's sports, who coaches these women? Mostly men. Who do these women want to be like? Do they want to be like Kobe Bryant, Jordan, LeBron? Or do they want to be like Elisa Leslie? Most likely they probably want to be like Kobe or LeBron or Jordan, right? So if you don't want men in quote unquote women's sports, who are women going to model themselves after? They got to model themselves after someone. Have some kind of role model. It must be a public figure. So, because you don't really know about people you don't know about, right? should men be allowed? Men dominate most sports. I'm not sure of one sport that women dominate. That comes on TV regularly. And again, I'm not against women participating in sports. Women can learn. Anybody can learn. Communication, teamwork, networking. Get a lot of connections in sports, right? New friends in sports. Have a bond in sports. However, if that is your intent, it's pretty much sex neutral, right? You network with men, women. But I hear it now. What if women want to only compete with women? Well, again, what is their intent? It goes full circle. Is your intent to be the best at the sport? If not, why participate? If it is to be the best at the sport, why limit yourself to a certain sex? Why limit yourself to a certain sex? If you want to be the best bowler, why not compete against all bowlers? You want to be the best boxer, why not compete against all those in your weight class? Unless these women know that these women know the truth. These women know the truth. These women only want to participate amongst other women. This means that ultimately they've conceded that they're not able to compete with men. Right? For instance, if blacks said that they only wanted to compete against other blacks and not whites and not other races, isn't that saying that they're better? Isn't that what it's saying? You're trying to compete for second? If you're not trying to be the best, then you're trying to be second best. If your intent is to be the best, right? You're trying to be second best. Now, if you're doing it for entertainment purposes, right? If women are joining sports or participating in sports for entertainment purposes and not to be the best at that sport or exercise, all right? If a woman or women are choosing to participate in sports for entertainment purposes, then I'm all for that shit, right? But here's the problem. These sports, basketball, football, soccer, etc., they weren't made for women. They weren't created with the intent of being female friendly. So, my suggestion to women who want to play sports for entertainment, again, for entertainment, is to create your own sport that you can dominate. Don't try to follow in our footsteps. Don't try to follow in men's footsteps. Don't try to play basketball like we play basketball. Don't try to play soccer like we play soccer. Create your own sport. Create your own sport that you can dominate. Where no man will even consider joining. I'm not a woman, but I may be able to give you some ideas. On some competitions that will be female friendly. Because every sport, basketball is meant for taller individuals. And men are typically taller than women. And jump higher than women. Our sport was made for us. We're bigger, faster, stronger, taller. You can't jump as high as we can. You can't run as fast as we can. You can't kick as far as we can. Our sport was made to weed out the short, the slow. Create your own sport. Because following us will not get you far. Unless you're happy on where you're at. Women's sports, men don't want to watch women play a game built for men. Period. You have to create your own lane. You can't follow in our footsteps unless you're there to support us. So, and again, women aren't naturally inclined to participate in sports to begin with. So, you're in a little dilemma. Following men won't get you too far. Trying to be men won't get you too far. Trying to play a sport designed by men won't get you too far. Your goal is to create your own. A sport for women, by women. Something that you can do better than men. But it can't be something that men can be better at than you. It has to be something that is entertaining, because we're still on entertaining. We're not talking about being the best at a current sport. We're not talking about playing a sport just for exercising and enjoyment and networking, because we've already talked about that. You want to play a sport for entertainment. Now, I've seen several attempts at this. You had female wrestling. Well, that was kind of arousing. Not even gonna lie. The WWE female wrestling. You had the lingerie football, and that didn't really go anywhere. You had the lingerie basketball. That didn't really go anywhere, unless maybe it's a grassroots thing. So, what sport can women be good at that's better than men? That's what you need to consider and think about and solve. As personally, I think women should just join the sport for exercising, networking, communication, and team building. At this moment in time, I don't think women should try to, again, you're free to do whatever you want to do. You can try to be the best basketball player the planet has ever seen. You can try. Try to be the best soccer player. Try to be the best football player, hockey player. The problem is, like I said before, those sports were designed for men. By men. So, something that women can do that men can't do, or be better at than women. That's what you have to think about. Because when I say you, women are in a dilemma here. You can't exclude men from a sport that we created. You can't come in somebody else's building and try to take over that building or take over a room and try to claim it as your own and say the owner can't come in your building or in your room. If you come into the sports as it is today, you're coming into a male-dominated area. And the market, the views, the demand for women's basketball, women's soccer, I don't even know what else, basketball, soccer, women's soccer. I don't know what else women play that in the grand scheme of things, you know. They're not getting a lot of views. There's no demand for it. The market doesn't want it. The market doesn't want to see second tier athletes. Now again, if you're doing it for fun, then have at it. Enjoy it. Play to your heart's content. And I suggest all women participate in sports to some extent. But should men be allowed in women's sports? No such thing as women's sports. All sports are dominated by men. So women are participating in men's sports. So don't ask, should men be allowed in women's sports? That's a dumb question. Question should be, what sport can be created that women can dominate or want to participate in? Because like I said at the beginning of this video, you go down to the local parks, basketball court, you're not going to find too many women down there playing on the court. And that's an indicator right there that maybe, just maybe, sports aren't women's favorite thing to do. That's all I'm saying. And that's okay. If a woman does not want to compete in sports, that's her prerogative. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'd like to see women create a sport that they can do better than men that is entertaining. That's what I want. I want to see beautiful women doing something that men can't do and don't want to do. Right? I want to see women participating, exerting physical strengths and energy into something that I like to see. Right? What are some things men can't do? I don't know. What are some things women are really good at? What do we see women really like doing? How about poles? How about up and down poles? Twerking, shaking ass. That should be a sport. That should be a sport. Have teams. Twerking teams. Right? Beautiful women twerking against each other to see who could twerk the best. Which cheeks bounce the most. That is a sport. That is something women can do, and they enjoy doing it. It's great exercise. It's great team building. It's entertainment. It's networking. And the market has a demand for it. There's a demand for it. You don't have to sit here and try to beg people to come see you in that sport. And it's ready. It's entertaining. So, exercise, entertaining, good communications, team building. I mean, it's a win-win. It's a win-win. And women want men to participate in that sport. We can judge that sport. Let's start a league. Let's start a league. You don't even have to go far. As far as location-wise. Start a league. A dancers league. Twerkers league. Ass lifting league. Bum, 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 bum. Which ass cheek lifted the higher? The red team or the blue team? You can have doubles, triples, 5-on-5, 1-on-1. You can compete. Again, it's just my thoughts. And again, anybody can do whatever they want to do on this planet while we're here. These are just my thoughts on should men be allowed in women's sports. Women should create their own sport, something that all or the majority of women like to do, instead of trying to get women or try to control the market to watch women play basketball, soccer, baseball, some other shit. Women don't like doing that shit. The majority of women don't like doing that. Women like to twerk. Women like to dance. The Twerk League. Sign up. Let's get started. This is Eddie. I'm out.